G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the YouTube channel. How are we all doing today? Oh, it is a wonderful, wonderful afternoon, honestly. I've done a little bit today. I got a cake from my work and such from my birthday the other day. Yeah, it's been nice. Although I slept most of the day because I was out till 6 in the morning. Anyway, I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name's Nathan. I make videos about motorcycling and I'm posting them here on good old YouTube. If you like me content, leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you really want to cop yourself some merch, the hoodies are very, very nice. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. I don't know if you guys have been around the YouTube lands lately, but there seems to be a bit of an influx of the old motorcycle influencer, as it were, getting arrested. And what's the term they coined it? Self-snitching, okay? If you wonder what real self-snitching is, it's when they post themselves doing stupid shit and posting it on YouTube, such as going 180 miles an hour down a freeway. Now, in some places in America, you can use your YouTube videos as evidence, which is, well, fair enough, you are filming yourself committing said crime, but places like Texas, I think, don't allow you to use video as evidence. That's why Jigsaw is so, like, protected, because if you don't stop for the cops, you can't really get fined, because the video ain't considered evidence, even though it's quite literally documenting the said crime. I don't understand the logistics behind it, but just saying, make sure you know your laws before you start doing stupid shit. That's why when you do post yourself breaking the law and doing all kinds of things, people tend to blur the speedo. Although, look, for certain amounts of riding, I don't think blurring it's going to get you saved. If you're going down the freeway at like 300 kilometers an hour, passing cars like standing still, yeah, look, I don't think they're going to care if your speedo is blurred, all right? But to some degree, if you just go into the back roads and you're just sending it on your own, and you do a little bit of the egregious speeding, I don't think there is going to be as annoyed as long as you're not endangering people. Not that I'm telling you what to do, I'm just saying it's a potential, man. Man, I actually got breathoed the other day by one of the drug busters. Good thing I don't really drink, hey? That tells you what, there's a trend amongst motorcycle influencers, okay? Now, I'm not one of them, believe it or not, because I like to keep my license. But there's a lot of people that, it doesn't matter, these bloody roads, man, 10 out of 10. It doesn't matter what country you're in, there's a lot of Australian ones, a lot of American ones, etc., English people, that just because they have a camera attached to their motorbike now, think they're above the law. And look, I get it, to get more famous on YouTube, breaking the law and speeding will do it faster. It's essentially like being a hot chick and deciding to start an OnlyFans account, alright? If the better you look, the more popular you get. And if you're doing little, simple pictures, you won't be as good as someone going full out. It's the same as concept as the motorcycles. Now look at me. My channel's growing a little bit faster than it usually does, although I haven't been able to post shorts because the program I use for it's not fucking working. But I ride relatively sensibly. I don't break the law. I try and keep it relatively legal compared to some other guys who are going 4x the speed limit, etc., etc. But because I've decided to follow the law, it makes it a little bit harder to get yourself traction, and because of that, it's a bit of a shame. You know what I mean? So if you break the law egregiously and constantly when you're doing motorcycle YouTube content, you actually tend to get rewarded for it. Now, like anything in life, fortune favors the bold, so those who do it get rewarded, but on the upside, or the downside, sorry, you get more risk. So if you want to do too much stupid shit, you're liable to get arrested by the police. Okay, we look at that other smaller YouTuber, she got arrested and her bike was impounded and she got a court date, etc., because she was posting herself doing like 180 down the freeways. Now it's 180 kilometers an hour, right? So I know you Americans going a lot faster than 180. What's that, like 140 miles an hour or 130 miles an hour? It's not like stupid, it's not great, but it's ridiculous, the fact that we get so governed, all right? What do they say? Govern me harder, daddy. We're so held back by laws and everything. Now, look, I understand what they're all there for, and it's a damn shame, I'll give it that, but it's unfortunately the reality we live in. We don't get the joys of freedom to be able to just send it like the Germans do down the road. Every country should have an autobahn, or at least the country, such as like Australian outback areas, shouldn't have speed limits, because that country's like the same landmass as the USA. And the fastest we really get to go in Victoria is 60 miles an hour. And then I think we get to go to maybe about 66 miles an hour or something at the highest, because it's 110 kilometers an hour at our highest speed, which I don't know about you, sir, but it's not very fast in a landmass of that size. Now, I know Northern Territory, I think it's 130. They had a zone of unlimited speed, but guess what? They never had a single accident the entire time they tried it out, and they decided it was still too dangerous, bastards. And when my uncles just got their license, the country didn't have speed limits, as it shouldn't. And they had worse roads and worse cars. Explain. Governed too hard by people who just want to make money off the common folk, eh? Now, on the other side of the spectrum, all right, people losing their license is one thing, but the more of these kind of influencers decide to get into riding and decide to start influencing, as it were, there's other risks involved. So every other week you now hear of these people having accidents on the motorways, bridges and everything, when they end up having a fatal crash. And there's been quite a few of them that are quote-unquote Instagram influencers that end up having the big good night because they decide to speed everywhere. Now look, I understand speeding everywhere. It's fun. You shouldn't really do it, but it's fun. No one's going to tell you it isn't. Anytime you do something relatively illegal, there's always a bit of joy, alright? Are they going to like me selling you that? No. A CF Moto 450 SR, very nice. But guess what? That's the reality of motorbikes and such. And vehicles. The faster you go, the more fun it tends to be. But that's like anything. The higher the adrenaline rush, the more you're like, whoa, that was enjoyable. But unfortunately, the Big Daddy Police says you can't do that, and thus takes away all of our joy and money, because then they just fine you for everything. But all these bikers that try and see the Instagram influencers do what they do and go, ooh, that's kind of fun, I want to do that, then they speed. And now a lot of them are beginner riders. Like, I started motovlogging when I was on my learners, dude. Probably shouldn't, but ooh, look at that little 450 SR. They're nice bikes, I really like them. But look, not everyone should start riding on their learners, purely because they don't have the maturity or the skill to do said riding. And thus, look, talking and riding, if you're doing it like I do now, you start off really sort of, you'll struggle, all right? You're going to be like, what am I saying? Oh, is that the thing? You lose focus relatively easily. And thus, you're more likely to get into an accident because you're just not paying attention as much. Oh, for God's sakes. I don't know how well you guys can see right now, but I am hella blinded by this sunshine. So, I don't know if you look at my older videos when I didn't really edit as much, you can really hear my train of thought sort of like going, when I'm talking. Why is everyone crawling so much? My God. And you sort of tell, like, nowadays I cut out a lot of the bits when I'm thinking, but like beforehand, there'd be a lot more when I'm sort of stuck in thought and I'm not looking or I'm not turning properly and I'm doing something wrong and I'm like, stuff like that. Obviously, with time, it gets better. Oh, thank you. And like I said, it's a skill. You practice. But some people don't have the capacity. I don't have the capacity to do such things. And then when they practice it, they might not get better, but then they might speed. They don't realize people in front of them are braking, and they crash. Or if they do get past that beginner statement of the motovlogging and influencing scene, they try and do what all the other big influencers are doing and speed and speed and speed, because, you know, speed equals views and views equal money. That's why I'm broke. And lo and behold, I don't know how to go too fast around cars, man. I've lost control and bang, I've crashed, and oh look, I've done the eternal sleep. And it's a shame, because you don't want to see the riders do that. It negatively affects the rest of us in the process. No, don't think I'm saying that their passing's a greedy thing, but because it's still sad. Look, everyone's a tragedy, but the more people that do that stuff and then ride around doing egregious speeding and dangerous stuff do put a bad name on the rest of the bikers that do ride around, and thus harsher rules and whatnot get applied to us. And you hate to see it, but idealistically, in certain places you shouldn't be that kind of rider. If you want to be a fast boy rider, I'm not going to stop you. If you want to do that as your influence, please go ahead. I'm not the one to tell you how to live your life. Just know that I don't want to see you end up on the pavement under a truck because you wanted to go fast for a vlog. Because it's happened. In fact, there was a relatively popular Instagram guy who only had that happen like 6 months ago. He was on the Westgate Bridge and something, and he crashed, and it didn't quite go well for him. And it's sad. You know, you don't like hearing the story, and like, especially if you know these people. Like, I've not met many riders who've had that happen. If any, I don't think any of the guys I've been friends with have had a fatality. So obviously I know of people who know fatalities, but I have fortunately not met any, despite knowing many of the people that ride definitely might, because they ride like absolute knob jockeys. But hey man, their life is their own. They can ride how they want. Ooh. The only downside of following the law is you hit that power and you're like, I want to get going, and then you're like, oh, I'm already at the speed limit. What a nice little area over there. It's so like out of character for this place. It's just open. I don't know, they have Gerald's Park goes down that way too. Dude, Easter break coming up soon. Let me know down below, guys, what you guys are all doing for Easter. I know that there's not everyone celebrates it, but you get the holiday in Australia, at least, or Victoria. We get the Thursday off, so I'm happy. Might start pulling apart the old car with Dad. I think we said we'd do, so that's good content, baby. Bin chickens flying over. But man, Don't be one of them dipshits who hurt themselves trying to chase clout. I understand. Look, I get it. You get a little bit of notoriety. That's nice. You're getting recognised at a bike meet because of your antics. That's nice. You feel that adrenaline rush when you're running from people. It's all nice until it's not. And then, unfortunately, in this country, you tend to get called, ooh, an XR8. That's a nice XR8. I like XR8s. I wouldn't mind one of those utes, but they're expensive. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all I really wanted to talk about today. Just be careful, be aware. Try not to get arrested if you're doing stupidities, you know, riding around, going egregious, filming yourself at least. You can speed all you want, just be careful when you start filming and posting, because you got to be careful how you film stuff, because certain places are more strict than others. Australia is definitely one of those more strict places. They don't really fuck about with people breaking the law. Now, I get it. In order to have order, you got to have enforcement, but they're a little bit over the top when it comes to vehicle laws here. Like, man, you can have an intercooler in your car, or you can have a cold air intake, but you can't have both. That's illegal. Fun fact. And it's one of the stupid fun facts. So I was like, brother, how is that? Huh? So you can have an intercooler or a cold intake. You can't do both. And if you do, I think you need the car to be engineered, because, oh, that's dangerous. And I think if it makes over 25% more power, that one I'm not, in fact, like, I'm not sure on, so please correct me down below if I'm wrong on that, Noah. You need to get an engineering certificate to make sure your car is safe. Otherwise, you're not allowed to drive it legally. So, God have mercy if you decide to turbo your car and tune it, because then you're probably going to have to get an engineer. But other than that, ladies and gents, that's all I really want to get off my chest today. Be careful, ride safe and all that goodness. You know I love you and I don't want to see you get hurt. Otherwise, take it easy, keep it cheesy. Tell me how you feel about the situation down below. Cop yourself some merch, subscribe to the channel. And, you know, time to love you and leave you, so have a good one. Peace. Bye!